I've never seen the ignorance on both parties to not find a way to open the government and put this hurt on the American people.
The whole point is now we're trying to win the AI race and we can't build it without the stuff from China. Like, what are we going to do when they say no? Like, are we just going to lose? Like, I don't think that we can afford that.
Good morning, Vietnam. It feels good to say that again. It's been a couple of days since we haven't recorded. So I'm excited to be here. I'm Mayer Dallal, your host of the Money Matrix podcast, where smart money finds a smarter way. We have our counterpart, Jason Rod.
How you doing, everyone?
And Alan Hastings.
Hello, hello.
The resident Californian.
That's right.
Resident Californian.
So today we have a couple of interesting topics. First and foremost, we want to talk about the Fed rate cut, which just happened yesterday, and the fallout from it, if you will. The government shutdown, which ties directly into the Fed. And lastly, the China conflict with the soybeans and the precious metals and everything that's going on with that. Let's start off. Alan, can you pull up that chart by any chance?
Of the 10-year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do exactly that.
This is something interesting because the last time we had a Fed cut, we also had a similar type of issue where the market was very hopeful for the cut and the 10-year was down. And then the cut happened and the Chairman Powell said some things and the bond market shot up again. And exactly what I was worried about happened. So exactly what happened is that yesterday Fed Chair Powell cut by a quarter point. And then when they were talking about the future, that's when he came out and said, if I don't have data, the cut in December is far gone. If you guys think I'm going to do this without any data, you're crazy, ultimately.
Yep.
On a grand scheme of things, I agree with him. And I had said it in previous podcasts. It doesn't make sense for him to make any of these types of adjustments without really knowing where the data is. I think this cut, he was pressured into doing it too. I really didn't even think he wanted to, but I think he had to. I mean, when you see Amazon cutting 30,000 jobs, who else is there? UPS, 48,000 jobs. Intel, 24,000 jobs. Microsoft, 15,000 jobs. That's just some of the companies. There's so many more, and we really don't even know what the data looks like at all with the unemployment, with what's going on. So I don't blame him, but what he said is, I'm not doing it unless I have the data. And the market freaked out because the market had priced in 2 cuts for sure and a third one in January.
Right.
So it was at 100% for this month and in December. And now it's at like 60%.
Right.
So that's a big change. So if you go back to the chart now, on October 22nd, the 10-year bond was at 395. And today it's 408. But if it breaks that 408, 409, it could go as high as 414. That spread right there, that's 30 to 50 basis points on your rates going up. Last time it happened the same way, we had about a 50 basis point upswing. When I took this chart and our loan officers went out and started making calls to their clients, and 3 or 4 clients immediately jumped and said, okay, let's move on it. Because when they saw this in real time, they realized exactly what was happening. Now, when was last cut? Last cut was
September.
So if you see, it's the same pattern, right? Where it went down all the way to the bottom there. And right after the cut, it shot back up again. So
it's primarily because of the speech he gave, right? Not just the
it's
cut.
100%. It had nothing to do with the cut. It's the words. And everyone hangs on to every one of his words. But in this case, I agree. I don't think that there should be any cuts until we know where we stand and the ramifications of it. What are your thoughts, guys?
My thoughts, first off, are just like how I've said in the podcast before. I'm actually surprised that he did this one with no data. And moving forward for December, I really don't see that happening due to the fact that everything works in arrears as it is, and he's not going to have access to that data.
60 days behind.
Yep, 60 days behind. And all that. And the government needs to be open to get accurate numbers. So, I mean, we're dancing down a path that's, really uncharted for the government to be closed this long and for him not to have access to data And to turn things around within that time, I mean, we're counting on the government here. Nothing happens quick.
And it's end of the year, and it's going to be, the whole, oh, I have to get back to work. I have to get my computer started again. Like, because there's how many people that are furloughed right now? I mean, it's crazy number, the shutdown. I mean, let's just go right into the shutdown because I've never seen a shutdown this long. Jay, have you seen it ever shut down? I mean,
I just can't. I've never seen the ignorance on both parties to not find a way to open the government and put this hurt on the American people. That's what's
yeah, ultimately
beyond.
now it's both parties. I can't stay anymore. It's just Alan's party. They have to
Well,
do it.
I actually do want to point out, you guys, the longest shutdown was 35 days. And that was in the 2018 to 2019 turnover when the budget was renewed and Trump's first term. And the roles were reversed. I think we had the House back then. But
And
I
just
think
to
so.
point out on that, you talk about, the Democrat line with they own the House, the Senate. Let's be real. Let's talk about the 60 votes that are needed and the 7 Democrats that keep voting no over 13 times to keep the government closed because they're hardline to try and get all these things into another bill. It sickens me how the government works with this space. It's got to stop. There's a clean CR, open the government, have a discussion. It's
They
like a
can
temper
still
tantrum.
they can still fight about it later, but just at least open up. Let these people get paid. Let these people work. I mean, a lot of these people are working without even getting paid.
They owe us
TSA,
almost $8 billion,
yeah.
almost $8 billion a month for SNAP benefits here in this country a month. And the new talking point is, well, they should allocate the $6 billion that they have in the USDA reserves.
Mhm.
I'm not sure USDA, but there's another
There's reserves
section
somewhere.
that they have $6 billion. Well, and the Democrats are saying, oh, it's okay. Well, you can feed almost everybody. And I'm like, I just can't believe it. Back and forth. Well, you just need to do all these extra things and send for transvestite shows in Uganda, or we're not doing it.
So
It's just really frustrating.
if I could have a quick moment, 2 things. One, the Republicans could end the shutdown right now. All they have to do is get 50 votes to remove the filibuster, and then the Democrats couldn't stop them. But there's a
They've
reason
had 53
Republicans aren't
votes
doing that.
13 times.
Yeah, but they aren't removing the filibuster, which would stop the Democrats who would not need 60 votes if Republicans just remove the filibuster with 50 votes. But I'll tell you, there's a reason they're not doing that. And it's because it's a longer conversation. Republicans basically need a weapon. And now they're sad that the weapon's being used against them. And they've used it an unbelievable amount of times. The longest shutdown in government history was caused by Republican filibuster.
But
We're in
what is this weapon? No, I'm curious to know
the
now.
filibuster.
Okay, I get it.
If the minority party doesn't want a bill to pass, like what Jason's saying, where they need a majority of 60 votes, that's because one party is holding up the vote with a filibuster, where they basically just stand there and talk. And there was all these, I'm sure you saw it on the news, like Hakeem Jeffries or somebody gave like a 25-hour speech just to
Yep.
stop the vote. And the only
Yep.
way to stop somebody talking, to stop them from holding up the entire process, is to remove the filibuster, which is them talking. And Republicans just aren't doing it. So,
Why aren't they doing it, in your opinion?
because the majority of the time that filibuster is used when Republicans basically, this all started back when Obama was president, but this was really weaponized when Obama became president. The leader of the House basically said, because we lost, because John McCain lost, because Obama's president, we're going to do everything in our power to make sure he gets nothing done. And so throughout the entire first term of Obama, they filibustered almost every single bill he tried to pass because they had the minority, but they wanted to sabotage what he was trying to do. And since then, you can look at the stats. It's been used about 85% of the time by Republicans, not Democrats, because all they want to do is fudge up any kind of process they don't enjoy. And so now it's happening to them. And all of a sudden, oh, woe is me. We can't open the government. You could remove the filibuster. It just takes 50 votes, 50 votes, which they have from anybody. You just need the 50 votes. You're saying you have 53 to open the government. Those same 53 people could just vote to remove the filibuster. And then the filibuster would be gone. Democrats couldn't stop you. You don't need 60 votes anymore. You reopen the government. But the Republicans aren't doing it because they need the filibuster for when they're not in control. They're just scared of losing their only leverage when they're not popular.
Does it remove it one time or
permanently?
Well, it doesn't sound like that's a good idea.
Well, then we keep the government closed
reason.
until this issue is resolved, right? And so that's the cycle of he blames, she blames, right?
From what I'm hearing, I mean, they're only a couple of votes short now. Some of the Democrats are breaking down. And I heard this morning, they were saying that Schumer is losing his edge and people are just getting tired of it. And They're realizing that Schumer just has his agenda and it's not for the betterment of the people. It's just his own agenda.
Which, thank God, let's get rid of him. But the other point I wanted to make was SNAP benefits can be paid while the government is shut down. They found the legislation for this. It's totally possible. Donald Trump has specifically told the government to not issue SNAP benefits to put pressure on Democrats. There's actually a complete legal pathway for SNAP to get paid, but we're not doing it.
Where does that come from? And that's a total of $6 billion, right? That they have for that.
There's reserves in other places, but the point isn't that there's no money. The point is that the government's saying we're shut down. We can't issue it, but they legally totally can't.
But
totally
to issue it and
So-
not have the money to back it is two different things. We're just going to randomly pull $6 billion from somewhere.
Well, we're not paying it out to anybody right now. So if
Yeah,
you're
but
using
it's still-
payroll,
No,
if
it's a
you're using
reserve.
something
No,
else.
but
It's a
still-
reserve account.
But it still
Well,
has
that's
to
what
be
reserves are for.
I mean, you can't just say,
I mean, we're still paying taxes. You know what I mean? Money's still going into the government. It's just not coming out.
yeah, but you can't just randomly take money that's allotted from here. There's a checks and balances. This is the federal government. You're just saying, well, let's just take it here and apply it to SNAP.
Well, it's not what I'm saying. We're still paying into SNAP right now. You and I still pay taxes on our income,
I
on
get
all
it.
of our federal purchases.
I
All that
get
money's
it,
still going in
but
for SNAP. It's not just coming out.
What about the people that are actually working? What about the TSA people?
Without payrolls?
Without
Yeah, that's
payrolls.
crazy.
All
Yeah.
of these people are actually going in. So imagine they're getting up, going to work every day for 3 days,
Yep.
and they haven't been paid.
That's
Okay?
insane.
Those people, in my opinion, need to get from that $6 billion allocation before, in my opinion, the SNAP people. Sorry to say that. I mean, these people are actually working, they're doing. But if the government doesn't have the money at this point, you need to look at the real thing and see who these people are. I mean, these are people that are furloughed who are not getting paid and are still working. And so
Well, the money
is.
is there. That's the big problem. We're still all paying taxes. The money's still going in. It's not like we have to choose one or the other. We could pay everybody. We're just not doing it.
But if
Yeah.
you don't have the checks and balances to write the check, someone can write the check, but if they can't sign it,
Yeah.
what's the difference? So it's
Right.
just like
That's where we're at.
How much compromise needs to happen in this place? I mean, it's seriously like a temper tantrum from both sides, but
Right.
majority towards the Democrat,
Well, have
the
the
way they're-
Republicans made any concessions at all? You say compromise over and over and over, but really what you're saying is Democrats just give up. Like, where's the compromise from Republicans? Have you seen one
don't
piece of
use
any
the
legislation?
filibuster to get your legislation through, like they've said multiple times.
And remove it.
Let's take funds from somewhere else instead of opening the government. It seems like there's a lot of demands being made versus just doing the standard operating procedure in business.
Of rolling
and what they
over and
do.
dying. Listen, Donald Trump went bankrupt, and I read Art of the Deal. He walks into
Here
a
we
bank
go.
and he's
Here we
no,
go.
no, no. He walks into a bank in a room full of all of his debtors, and he goes, "Listen, I could go bankrupt right now. I could pay you guys nothing, or you can work with me, and I'll pay you less, and I'll pay you over time." It's like
time. It happens all the time.
exactly. That's when you show your character, and that's when you fight the hardest. And it worked for him. And Democrats are doing the exact same thing. It's like
Yeah, but
you
hold
are
on
in
a
a
second.
position.
The Democrats, what are their standing points? What are their things that they're
Healthcare.
hard? Okay,
What was it?
healthcare.
It's healthcare. They're removing, all they're trying to do is there's the big, beautiful bill. There was one portion of the big, beautiful bill that cut, was it $600 billion from healthcare? And all they're saying is just take that part out. And that's it. We're good to go.
What about all the other things I see Kennedy talking about, all these other senators talking about, all these different things and funds that are going to different countries that are
They don't want
all
the
talking
USAID
points?
back. No, none of that back. It's just healthcare.
So why is Trump adverse to that?
Because it's $600 billion that would have to go back into the budget, because now they have to spend that $600 billion again, right? Like we cut that. And so our deficit's already really high. Now we would be adding that $600 billion back onto our US debt, which
But doesn't
obviously
that
not great.
take away from the things that they set up in healthcare from the big, beautiful bill and puts in play more things from Obamacare?
So
And
Obamacare is
it-
staying. It's just like Obamacare was basically subsidies were paid to insurance companies to make sure that our premiums were lower, right? So you and I pay healthcare, even non-Obamacare people. Our insurance
Mhm.
premiums are based on the market value. And to keep the market value low, the government pays subsidies to insurance companies.
Right.
With the big, beautiful bill, we're taking that out. So we're not paying those subsidies anymore. So everybody, not just Obamacare people, that value is going to go up. All our health insurance premiums, they went up at the start of the year. If you remember, now that's basically what's going to happen again, just at a larger scale. And you have certain states, like there were several states already who have released, here's what your health insurance is going to cost now that the big, beautiful bill's in play. And you can go see it. You can Google it and actually see for your state how much health insurance goes up. So
Yeah.
that's what we're trying to avoid.
What else does it include? What's the big thing that the Republicans are like, no, 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 we can't do that besides the 600 billion? I feel like there's some data points that are being left out.
The huge talking point, not just the deficit, because our deficit will go up a ton, right? The huge talking point is healthcare for illegal immigrants, because Republicans are lashed on to the idea. Basically, if you go to a hospital, the first thing they do is treat you, like in the emergency room, right? And they treat you,
And
and
then
then they hit you
ask
with
the
a bill.
questions later. Yep.
Yep. And so now Republicans are trying to remove that law that basically says they don't get to see if you have health insurance before they treat you. They treat you first. Now it's going to be, do you have health insurance first?
I hear
The
you.
long and the short of it basically is the Democrats are doing something that's a good thing, but it's going to crush the deficit, right? Like Republicans don't
It's
want
going
to
to hurt
add,
the American people.
hopefully not, but you never know, right?
It already
Financially,
is.
yes. And then rates, yeah, it is. But the rates, the debt is one of the biggest drivers of inflation, right? The GDP and all this other, Democrats are basically pushing for a moral good thing that could financially be really bad. And so that's where we're stuck in the mud.
Are you sick of hearing people say it's a Republican shutdown or a Democrat shutdown? Alan, where do you stand in just getting things back open? What's
I
your
want things back
opinion on
open
it?
because I'm so sick of having conversations with a borrower where they're like, didn't they drop the rates? And I have to explain, yeah, except Jerome Powell hasn't seen a BLS report in 2 months. And we have 6 rate cuts that are delayed because of the government being shut down. It sucks. Like our job is being affected right now. And I don't work in the government, but I have to have this conversation with people every single day.
Yeah, and on the other end of that, the American people are getting pulled over on. They're paying expensive rates, having to reactionary market that's out there, and they're paying higher premiums now. And it costs money to refinance. It costs money to do these things.
Yeah. So let's move on to our final topic, which was very interesting to me because I had no idea that China bought 65% of the soybeans that grow from the United States. I had no idea they consumed that much of it. And this whole China agricultural war thing, I mean, it's pretty crazy. I mean, from what I heard this morning, Trump made a deal with the president of China that they're going to buy the soybeans and they're going to give us their precious metals and they're going to play nice in the sandbox and reduce the
Yep.
taxes and the fentanyl, and they're going to try to stop the fentanyl imports. I don't know. I mean, what are they going to go to the triads and be like, listen, triads, just stop bringing in fentanyl? I don't know how China is going to do that, but
I don't think it's the fentanyl itself coming from there. It's the things that actually help produce the fentanyl in other countries, nations and whatnot.
providing this stuff to
Yeah,
get-
so they need key ingredients in order to make it, and other countries are making it that are on their southern and northern side, eastern side of the country that are creating it and bringing it into the country, and that's what they're trying to do.
Wow. So we saw in the Fed Powell speech, which you saw the chart, didn't do great for us. Didn't he say that the Fed is not looking at the interest rates as an anti-inflation tool right now? He said, we're focusing on fixing the job market, right? Like when he came out on stage, he basically goes like, we don't have enough data to do, enough of a call. He said, we're not declaring victory on inflation, but
Yeah.
the economy is basically, we're stimulating growth. That's why the rate cuts. So this tariff thing on China and the agriculture war on China, do you think if this causes inflation here, do you think that's going to affect the rate cut in December?
Well, I think it came down 50% on a bunch of blacklist markets for China that wasn't allowed, and they changed it from 100% tariff to 50%. I read something on that today. There's a lot of movement in that space. Will it affect inflation? The way the negotiations are going, I would say not, but would the market be reactionary to it? 100%.
But let me
Yeah.
ask you a question. The soybeans, what do the Chinese use soybeans for? I mean, I'm sorry, I'm ignorant. I don't know. What do they use for so much soybeans? 65% of what we grow.
Oils, food. I mean, edamame is huge, but it's not 65% of what we sell. There's a lot of alternate uses for it. Soybean oils. And yeah, I don't know besides
Yeah, it's crazy.
So soybeans, 80 to 85% of China's imported soybeans are crushed to make animal food for pigs, chicken, and fish. So their agriculture market, their meat and everything is based on our soybeans.
Oh, so they
That's
buy
kinda
our
crazy.
soybeans to feed theirs to import back everything back the other, export back
The circle
everything
of
that
life.
way.
which helps our local farmers here, right?
Yeah. What about the precious metals? What's the deal with the precious metals, Alan? Why are their precious metals better than Ukraine's or better than any other countries?
Maybe it's just a volume thing, right? Because it's just like soybeans. They can't grow their own as easily. We can't mine Ukraine right now. Maybe it's just a volume thing. Their land mass in China is huge, right? So their natural resources will be different, but I feel like maybe they're just in prime location to have like incredible rare earth mineral mining and such. But
It's technology is what it
yeah,
is.
exactly. The whole point is now we're trying to win the AI race and we can't build it without the stuff from China. Like, what are we going to do when they say no? You know, like, are we just going to lose? Like, I don't think that we can afford that.
I think it's us as Americans America trying to go ahead and be more involved in the manufacture piece of technology, right? Because there are key components that are needed. Like every iPhone has a certain mineral in it or precious metal
Right.
that's needed in order to make it function. And having access to that, we found that that is like a conductor for the AI thing that you're talking about, more than just software, actually things that work in your hand, in your life, robots, whatever else. It's really the fight for technology by controlling those precious metals for now until they figure out the next thing that works.
Yeah,
And
that
that'll
makes
be the big
sense. It's all
subject.
in the semiconductor chips and everything like that.
There you go.
We're doing like insane investments in NVIDIA and everything in the US, right? We're opening all these factories. Imagine we didn't have the precious metals for them.
They were
You
talking
know,
about
and
that.
rely on other people for it.
The
you know.
CapEx spending that's going into AI is nuts. The amount of money that's going into it. I mean, a lot of these jobs are AI related cuts. They're not because they're outside of Intel is a complete reorg, but the others is just AI, I think, is taking over and making it more efficient and not to have a human being.
Yeah, I'm
Sad to
terrified of
say.
that day. What was
There's always
the
going to be a need for a human factor, right? I'm telling you, one day it's going to be like Terminator, the movie, you know, it's going to be man versus machines. Everyone laughs at me, but I'm like, okay, you better know.
so fun fact for you guys. The US is 95% or more reliant on imports for 13 different minerals defined as critical by the USGS. And between 2020 and 2023, 70% of the entire United States' rare earth imports came from China. We feed their animals and they give us the pieces for computers. We're super reliant. So the idea that China could go somewhere else and be like, hey, let's get our soybeans somewhere else, that's kind of scary. I hope we have somewhere else too where we can get rare earth minerals, you know?
Ukraine,
That's maybe why we're sending the tomahawks, right?
but no, we're not sending them. Yeah, you're right.
All right, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, all. Money Matrix Podcast. Yeah. Thank you, guys. God bless. Appreciate it.
All right, take care.
Thank you guys.
Nothing can stop me. I'm on.